Welcome back to another episode of Hangouts with Omoni and Gozi. Drum rolls. Hey Gozi, so how are you today?
I'm good actually, just another day, another video, you know what I mean? Just like this is me now. Basically, this is what I do now. I would never have done this before, but I guess now I am into this celebrity stuff. So yeah, this is where I am now.
It's not celebrity stuff, Gozi. Yeah. Chill. Well, we're all staying at home, right? A lot of cities and states and countries are on a lockdown because everyone's trying to stay safe from the coronavirus. So we're really all at home. And while we're at home, we might as well bond with the kids, we might as well bond with our families, and we might as well learn how to all live together better, right? So the reason why we have Gozi with us all the time is for us to really get into the minds of our kids and understand what they're going through, understand what their struggles are, understand how they better want us to relate with them.
Yeah, so, and also it's because I'm the relatable child. I'm the one who's more into I'm more tech savvy. You know what I mean? I'm more into all the things that people do. I'm just a people guy. You know what I'm saying?
Gozi.
I'm the most social amongst all the kids. That's for sure. That's
really,
me. That's
really,
me.
Gozi, really.
Yeah.
You're out there just praising yourself.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
They always talk about self-love. You gotta have some of that. You gotta.
So this is self-love right now.
Yeah.
You're loving yourself.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
Right.
While you're there loving yourself, today we want to talk about peer pressure. So Gozi, what is peer pressure? Do you know what peer pressure is?
Yeah. Obviously. Well, anyways, peer pressure is just basically when your friends basically pressure you into doing something, because your peers are your friends, right? So peer pressure.
Are your
right?
peers always your friends?
Well, yeah. Actually, yeah. You're right about that, because in school and everything, all the people around you are your peers, right?
Exactly.
And if all your peers are moving in a certain direction, right, they can influence you into doing the same thing, even though you're not close with these people. Because there's a lot of people that may have, like, let's say up to like 1,000 people on their Snapchat, right, or something like that. But the people that they're close to is only like, let's say 20 of them, or maybe 5 of them even, right? Mm-hmm. So all those other people who might be in your school or in your neighborhood or whatever might influence you into doing things, right, that you might not necessarily want to do, or your parents may not want you to do, but they influence you into doing that. And you don't want to be outside of the group, right? You want to be doing what everybody else is doing so you can feel comfortable, right? That's why people join groups, friend groups, and different things like that. So yeah, that's what peer pressure is about.
So there is positive peer pressure and there's negative peer pressure,
that's
right?
Yeah.
So because sometimes people can actually pressure you into doing stuff that is actually good for you, right? For instance, you could have people around you learning to play the piano, and everyone is just learning to play the piano, and you're thinking, you know what, I don't want to be left out. I might as well just learn how to play the piano. That is positive peer pressure, because playing the piano is actually good, right? But then again, there is negative peer pressure, which is what we're going to look at today, really. So what are some of these things that people pressure people into doing, especially young people like you? I mean, the truth is everyone has peer pressure on whatever level you are. Even I have peer pressure, right?
Yeah.
From my peers, people on my in my own age bracket or in my own part of society or whatever, right? So, but let's look at peer pressure for young people like you, for teenagers, for young adults. What are some of the things that you feel like you're being pressured to do that you don't want to do?
Well, I just want to start off by saying that I don't succumb to peer pressure. You know, I'm just my own man. I do what I do. I don't care about what everybody else is doing. I just do what I want to do, right? But a lot of things.
And that is actually true.
Yeah.
I have 3 kids, but Gozi is really one that I've seen that doesn't really care about what other people are doing. I mean, there was once. I'm sorry to cut you short. There was once. Gozi was in another school a few years ago, and by the time he left the school, he was not happy really there. By the time he left and he was in another school, he later told me that, you know, the kids were cool. They all wanted to be cool, and he wasn't interested in being cool. So he sort of felt left out, and he just couldn't fit in, you know. So anyway, so go back to
Anyway, so some things that people can be pressured into doing nowadays is, you know, like in school, a lot of times, you know, you see a lot of people, you know, when they're supposed to be in class or whatever, you know, just hanging around in the bathrooms or whatever, stuff like that. And like people like vaping and stuff like that.
What is vaping?
What's vaping? Anyways, like I don't know exactly, because I haven't actually looked into what exactly it is, but I mean, it is this thing you hold and you can like, it brings out some sort of smoke from it. I heard it's not as dangerous as cigarettes, but people say it's dangerous, so you know, I just don't go there, because you know, it's better to be safe than sorry, right? But you know, a lot of people do that.
So is a device people use in smoking, pretty much?
Well, it's like, I think it was invented for like people to get over smoking, right? But I think nowadays, people are just using it. You know, kids are just using it. Kids who never smoked before, anything like that, they just use it. You know what I mean? In class, some people actually, like, sometimes in the middle of the class, they'd be under their shirt, you know, be using that.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
And it brings out smoke.
Yeah.
And then the teacher doesn't notice.
Well, I mean, they can hide it. They can hide it somewhat, so like, you know, the teacher doesn't notice. And some teachers like just don't be looking at the students, so yeah, they might not notice. I don't know. You can be pressured into just having a different kind of attitude. You know what I mean? Like, you know, nowadays, you know, there's a lot of it's basically just being different from who you really are and stuff like that. So you can just be pressured into trying to be like everybody else, and then that's how all these things spring about, like all these vaping, whether it be vaping or even smoking or even just things like that. Yeah.
So what are some of the other things that you feel like people are being pressured into doing?
So some other things that people might be pressured into doing is maybe like dressing a certain way, maybe, you know, like a lot of people sag nowadays. I mean, it's been like that for a while.
A lot of people do what?
Sag. They sag their pants and everything. So, you know, they that's another thing that a lot of people are being pressured into doing a lot, is because something like that is not usual fashion. Like, you know, people before you enter like middle school and whatever, like, you're not gonna dress like that. Like, come on now, like your parents, they're not gonna let you dress like that. You're not even gonna see it as something that's like even cool to dress like. But once you enter like middle school, you get into high school, things like that, you see everybody doing it. You know, you see all the guys hanging in the corner doing all that stuff. Oh man, those people are like, oh man, they're so cool. You know what I mean? I want to be like them, right? So you just walk around dressed like that and everything, looking like a bum, you know. So like, it's just that's how that's one of the things that people get pressured into doing.
What are some of the deeper stuff that kids your age, even younger or older, are doing that you feel like if not for peer pressure, they probably won't be doing those things?
One of the things that people do a lot these days is drugs. You know, people do a lot of drugs nowadays. You know, people I even like, I see a lot of people using all these like slangs for drugs and things like that I don't even know, right? And people be thinking that, oh, I'm just what's it called? I'm uncool or whatever, you know, I'm not with the group or whatever, that all these people know all these things, but it's just like,
do you know any of the slangs? Have you heard any of the slangs?
Yeah, I heard people talking about something like what was it? Loud or something like that. And
okay.
And someone's like, oh, do you use loud or something like that? I was like, bro, what are you talking about?
What is
yeah,
loud?
I'm like loud. I was like, what even is that? Right? And then people just keep talking about those things.
So people actually come to you to ask you if you use loud.
Yeah, if I use some stuff like that, yeah, they ask me sometimes. Yeah.
Why are they asking you?
Why are they asking me? I mean, it's just like, no, they just, I don't know, it's like kind of like a joke just to bring up conversation. It wasn't like, oh, they want to pressure me into doing it, right? But it's just, I'm saying, you know, a lot of people know these things because, you know, they use it and things like that.
So, you know, so for me, that in a way is some sort of pressure. They're not forcing you, but they're bringing it into your consciousness, right?
Yeah.
So that's some sort of pressure. That's like subtle pressuring someone into doing stuff they don't want to do. So something they don't even know about. So you're like, oh, do you use loud? So now the people who are using loud are the cool people, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to be cool, then perhaps you should join the people who are using loud to use loud,
yeah,
right?
That's right? Yeah, that's right.
Whew. Okay, so what do you think about drugs in general? What do you think? Do you feel like people can? Do you feel like people can? What's the word I'm looking for? Not succumb to that peer pressure.
Not succumb. I mean, it's very easy not to succumb. Like you're not gonna actually be uncool if you don't use drugs, right? Because there are actually a lot of other people who don't use drugs. You know what I mean? And they're actually the chill people. All those maybe athletes and things like that they're just chill, right? You can just hang out with those people and you're not gonna get in trouble like that. Like me personally, I just hang out with people who are just like chill, right? Because that's how I am. You know, I'm always calm, I'm always chill, stuff like that. So I just hang out with people who are like that, right? And if I hang out with people who are like that, it's easier for me not to do all that stuff because these people are just cool people too. And even though I do hang out with a lot of these people, I also do hang out with people who do all those things, right? But I mean, who cares, right? I don't really do all those things with them anyways, so yeah.
So I'm glad you said it's better to hang out with people who are like you, who are chill.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that's one of the ways you can avoid peer pressure, right? So hang out with people who have the same beliefs, the same I don't know what word to use. Anyway, so it's better to hang out with people who have the same beliefs as you, right?
Yeah.
So that way, it's easier to just follow that path, you know, because let's say, for instance, you're in a group with kids, right?
Yeah.
And you have like 5 or so people who are like you in that group. And then let's say there's some sort of pressure to do drugs, for instance.
Yeah.
If you're saying no and 5 other people are saying no, it's easier to say no.
Yeah.
Because now you have more people saying no. So if those 5 people are with you and all of you are saying no, it's easier to stand on your no and say no is no.
That's right.
Right? So that's one of the ways you can avoid peer pressure, which is now taking us into the answers. How do you avoid peer pressure?
Well, I mean, the only way to avoid peer pressure really, I mean, is just to don't be around those people. You know what I mean? Like stay true to like yourself and what you know is right. Okay, just follow what is right. Basically, don't do all this stuff that's wrong. Cause like me personally, I do hang out with people who do all those things, right? But you know, the reason why I do is because if someone wants to hang out with me, right, I'm not gonna turn that person down. I don't usually turn people down if they say that, oh, let's be friends or something like that. I just don't feel like I should do that, right? But at the same time, if they want me to do something that's stupid, I'll just tell them, hey, that's stupid. Let's not do that, right? So that's basically how you should be if you want to avoid those situations and peer pressure.
Okay, so Gozi, you have a strong personality, right? You're strong-willed. Not everyone is strong-willed, right? Now, for those people who are not as strong-willed as you, we need to talk about ways that they can actually sort of avoid negative peer pressure or say no, you know, without coming across as offensive. You don't really care about if the person who's pressuring is going to feel bad or not. You're just like, dude, I don't want to do this, and that's it, right? But not everyone is as strong-willed as you, and not everyone has the ability to say no and, you know, in a way hurt the other person's feelings and be okay. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm explaining it properly.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So what are some of these ways that I think what are some of these ways that people or young adults can avoid peer pressure, or can say no, or can get out of difficult situations? Because sometimes you find yourself in a difficult situation, right? Sometimes you can be in a group with people and all of a sudden everyone is doing something. Maybe everyone is vaping, and they're sort of pressuring you to vape, and you're not a strong-willed, so you don't know how to say, guys, I'm not doing it, and that's it. But you don't want to do it anyway. So what do you do?
Well, I mean, I'm not like, okay, so you can use anything to get out of a situation, you know what I mean? Like if somebody just come up to you and he's like, hey, do you want to vape with us? You could just say, hey, can I go I need to go use the bathroom or something like that. You could just like avoid the situation entirely. You know what I mean? Like you could just do anything basically. You could form an excuse or something like that just to avoid the situation. You said I'm strong-willed and everything. It's not every time that I say no to someone that I actually feel good. I'm just like, okay, sometimes I actually feel kind of bad. I'm just like, oh, I feel like I kind of hurt that person. But I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I did what was right in the moment, so I just kind of forget about it later on.
Okay.
And you also have to kind of become strong-willed. You know what I mean, yourself, because.
So you have to work on yourself.
Yeah, you have to work on yourself. You know what I mean? You have to work on your confidence and just finding ways to be able to say no to people and things like that, right?
And it's okay to say no, especially when it's a bad situation, it's a negative situation. It's okay to say no.
Yeah, and even if the person that you're saying no to is hurt, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter, okay? Because
in the larger scheme of things,
in the larger scheme of things, it actually does not matter. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people say that things like, when you, like people who have graduated from like high school, college and things like that, and have moved into the real world, right? Mm-hmm. They always tell you that, hey, you know what? All these friends that you have and everything, you're not going to see any of them later on.
Most of them,
you're not going to see any of them. It might be one or two that you're really close to that you're actually going to see later on. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these so-called regrets that you have right now, it's just going to disappear later on in life. That's what I think personally, even though I have not graduated or anything. I'm still 17, almost 17.
I'm dude, when did you become 17?
Anyway, so there you go. That's what I think.
Okay, so that's it's great that you mentioned that, because it's the honest truth. A lot of kids this age or even younger, they think this is all there is to life. The friends that I have now, the experiences that I have now, this is life. And we don't blame them. We don't blame anyone for feeling that way, because that's your reality, right? Mm-hmm. So you're feeling like this is it, and these friends that I have now, we're BFF, we're going to be best friends forever, and that's it. The truth is, chances are you will not be best friends forever, so because your best friend is doing something that is wrong, doesn't mean you should do it. And it's okay to say no to your best friend, and if that's the reason why your best friend is not going to be your best friend anymore, that's okay too. It would hurt. Nobody's saying it won't hurt. It will hurt for a bit, because you really like this person, so you really want to be with this person and hang out with them and do cool stuff with them. But if they're doing something negative and you have to say no to them and you hurt their feelings and they don't want to be friends with you anymore, that's okay, because guess what? In 5 years, in 10 years, by the time you go to university and you finish university and you've come out into the real world, you probably won't even be thinking about that person anymore. You probably won't even remember them anymore. Your paths might never cross again in life. You might move to different countries and you might never see them again forever. And that's okay. Like they say in Nigeria, 100 children cannot play for 100 years. It's not possible. Or 10 children cannot play for 10 years. It's not possible, So you have a group of friends that are like buddy, they're cool, they do things together. It doesn't mean that in 5 years or in 10 years, they're all going to be buddy and they'll be cool and they'll be doing things together. So it's okay to hurt people's feelings when you're saying no to them. And if you really feel like you're the kind of person who needs an excuse, then maybe you should find some sort of way. Like Gozi said, you can say, oh, I need to go use the bathroom. If someone is trying to pressure you into doing something, maybe they're trying to pressure you into vaping or doing drugs or whatever, you can quickly say, I want to go use the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
And and then just disappear from there if it's in school or in the, where you're hanging out somewhere or whatever, right? Or if you feel like there is really, really a lot of pressure, you can get your parents involved. You get your teachers or your parents involved. Sometimes you might need to escalate things, right? You can get your teachers or your parents involved. You can have some sort of code or something with your parents, right? Maybe something you text them or whatever, so they know that you're in a difficult situation and they can quickly call you. You might not call them because you don't want to upset the situation, but you can text them and they can call you to say, "Oh, I'm picking you up right now," for instance, right? So your friend knows that, oh, a parent is on the way, so we need to stop whatever we're doing, right? That's right. So you can there are different ways that you can try to get out of difficult situations and not have to give in to pressure. But I think that really the best way, which is what Gozi said, is to work on your own self-will, right? So be strong-willed, be able to for yourself know that this is bad, I don't want to do it, and nobody's going to pressure me into doing it. Whether you're going to pressure me with force or you're going to pressure me subtly, I don't want to be that person that you're trying to make me into, and just don't do it. So we've talked a bit about peer pressure today, and I've even learned one or two things. So let's bring it home, right? What are some of these ways that we can avoid peer pressure or say no to peer pressure?
Well, okay, just the things I've talked about before. Just hanging out with people who are like-minded, who will make it easier for you to not succumb to that peer pressure. And also just, trying to stay strong-willed. You have to develop a thick skin, if you want to be able to, guard yourself against the wind and things like that. So yeah, those are the most important things that you need to know. And also knowing when to avoid the situation and how to avoid the situation, because not everyone is okay with having other people be hurt by them saying no to something. So if they didn't exactly tell them no, right, they can also look for ways to avoid the situation.
So it's almost like you're dodging.
Yeah.
Find a way to
but you
dodge.
See, there are some problems with that too, because the problem with that is that if you keep dodging the situation, every time, I don't know, people might catch on, right? So you might have to get that point where you just have to put your foot down, and you just be like, nah, we're not doing this right now, okay? We're done. We're not doing this, okay? So you have to be able to do that eventually. You know what I mean? So yeah, those are the most important things that you need to know.
Okay, guys. So we've talked about peer pressure today. I've learned a few things. I don't know if Gozi's learned anything. Did you learn anything?
Yeah, I did. I learned some stuff. Just that, I was doing most of the teaching. So,
were you teaching me or I was teaching you?
I was teaching you, obviously, because look, I'm the one who came up with all this stuff. It was already in my head. So I didn't learn anything because all the stuff was already in my head.
So guys, it's been amazing hanging out with Omoni and Gozi. And Gozi has a YouTube channel, yeah. Yes,
that's right. I almost forgot. I subscribe to my YouTube, stay safe out there, drink lots of water, drink tea, eat good food, and stay safe.
Drink tea. I always have to force Gozi to drink his tea. So I make green tea with lemon, ginger, and honey. And all three of them, they don't, Chizzy doesn't really mind it so much, but Toby and Gozi are always like, but they still have to drink it anyway, and they have to take their vitamin C every morning on an empty stomach. So
that's right.
So those are some of the things that we're doing to, really, really build our immunity against this coronavirus. So guys, please stay safe, stay indoors as much as you can, social distancing, avoid large gatherings, and we'll see you soon. Love you guys. Bye.